coffee?
Yes.
Yes. I got my tea, so. All right. Welcome to Price to Sell. Okay, look up here. We're doing a class today, and all right. So the handout that I've given you, it's got your mission on it, right? Anybody with their homework? Let's see. Complete your daily 10-4. Who's been doing that? Oh, sure. Yeah, we got extras up here. Hand that back to him. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna rely on you all to help me through this. I like when you participate. Everybody? Okay. Is that everybody good with that? Yeah. Good. Okay.
Did they do their homework, Kate?
I don't know. Did anybody do their homework?
I did. Are we caught up on emissions? Are we getting there? When we get caught up by Friday, I have 60 pages of scripts that we're going to give out to everybody that has their missions caught up Friday. That sound good? Yeah?
Okay.
All right.
I would love to have those scripts.
That's it. Some are in there, some aren't. So we got a little bit updated ones.
Right.
No.
These guys tricks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of.
Alright, so let's talk about it a little bit, the missions. You know, is you said you did it?
I did. Well, I did the 10-4.
10-4.
I watched the videos.
Okay. Anybody else watch the video?
It was good.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the things you got out of the video.
The importance of staging.
The importance of staging, right? She had 4 things that were really important. Anybody tell me?
Presentation, pricing, marketing, and
First one. I don't know. Location.
and location and price you can't change those, right? Because price is determined by the market and you can't do that.
Precisely. So, yeah, I mean, really, four things I'm talking to a seller about when I go into a house is, you know, presenting the house is a big part of it, the staging. So, and that has its own 4 components. You want to make sure the walls, doors, windows are all good, floors, making sure it's clean and uncluttered. You know, so
I like what she said about moving out. If we're gonna sell your house, right? Just move out, put it in storage, get it out of the house.
right. The personal
That
things in the
disconnects
house.
them too from the house.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's a lot of personal.
It disconnects them from the house if you make them start moving their
Just tell me we're moving. Congratulations, you listened to me, we're moving now, so let's get this stuff out of here.
It was good.
To me, one of the biggest things that, and it's my pet peeve, is making sure that the outlet covers and the light switches match. To me, if it doesn't
It's a
match,
small detail, but it matters.
it just sticks out.
Right. I would
Maybe
say
not to other people, but
yeah, I would say when you're looking for things to point out to a seller, listen to your own buyers. When you're walking through a house with a buyer, what is the buyer saying? You know, I mean, really, your own personal preference matters very little, right? So I hear what you're saying, but I want to relate what the buyers are giving me feedback about when I'm showing houses.
True.
Because they're the ones in the market. You know, my personal preference doesn't make too much of a difference. You know, so. Yeah, I would say feedback. Don't be afraid. Like one of the things she said is, you can't hurt. You're not hurting people's feelings. Like don't go in there trying to be combative to a seller. You know, you're on their side. You want them to move. That's your goal, is to tie into their big why to get them to wherever they need to be. In doing so, we're entering this beauty contest. So get prepared, right?
I like how she started at the mailbox too. Walk them right in. The whole thing is not just because you have a beautiful basement doesn't mean the rest of the house is right. You have to walk room to room and go through everything.
Exactly. All right. Anything else that you got from the video? It's a pretty short video. It's Gary Keller.
Yeah, the second match was kind of cool how they challenged that guy to do 90 listings in 90 days, which is like a dream. But you just like to both hire and enrich you more.
Four-person group accomplished it, 101 listings.
Right, that's crazy.
Four-person group.
This guy did 83.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's, and if you got 83, you didn't hit 90, but
You got 83.
you got 83, right? Right, and even if you shot for 90 and you got 30, it's still better than none, right? You know, so, yeah, there's you know, kind of continuing education sort of webinars that you can get through Keller Williams University. And one of them is the 90-day listing challenge, which I recently did. It's Lance Woken does that. He's out of Texas, I think. So there's a lot of good info, and there's different scripts. The Jackie Kravitz, I think that in the last session, you got the FISBO, maybe even the expired script from Jackie Kravitz that Tom handed out. That's also another webinar that you can do through too. So, you know, a lot of knowledge there. So, okay. All right, so 10 floors we're working on. I think Al's trying to incentivize you to complete all your homework. Who's committed to doing that for next week or for Friday? Okay. 60 pages worth of scripts you're going to get if you do that, so just keep that in mind. All right. Report out bringing. How are you guys doing with the note cards, business cards, and stamps, and like for handwritten notes? Are you set up with that in your briefcase? If not, do you have access to that stuff in your office that you can do that sort of thing? Are you writing the notes?
Yes.
How many have you guys sent out this week? Anybody want to tell me?
I've been sending 10 every day, Monday through Friday for a year, since I took the exam class. And I do keep them right in my bag.
Perfect. Yeah, you
Like
get
it.
systematized, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
As soon
so
as I talk to someone, I write their address down and then I go.
Perfect. Yeah, so creating a system for yourself is really, I mean, that's what I'm going to teach you today, is my system for presenting to a seller price and how to, you know, and I have a system for it, okay? So it's going to tie in a lot to what Tom taught last week, or 2 days ago rather, and about the listing presentation, which I'm sure he gave to you, right? You guys have the listing presentation he gave you, the script for it, right? So that's the listing presentation that I do as well. And when we're doing that listing presentation, we're presenting active listings. You're using sold listings to kind of get an idea of the market, but you're sitting down with the seller, those sold listings are not on the market. They're not competing against your seller's house. So we're going to go and you know, present to them the active listings so they know what's going on in what they're competing against. Because that's what you're doing. You're in today's market and you got to outcompete the other properties that are on the market. Because the buyer's looking, you know, in a wide range a lot of times. So, so that's really what I'm going to try to do today, is to give you the system that I use. So, you know, she has a system that she uses, write down somebody's address, put a note in the mail. If you can systematize anything that you do, it's just going to make your life a lot easier, a lot smoother. And you're able to provide a level of service too, right? You have these standards that you hold yourself to, and you meet those standards, okay? So that's really what I'm trying to get across to you. Okay? Any questions you guys have at this point? Luke?
I just have a really hard time grappling with not having souls. Because in my personal opinion, souls are very important.
Sure.
Because that's what the appraisers are going to be using when you're doing a house.
Right,
Okay?
I agree.
So, and there is a difference between list price and sold prices. And I think it's part of my job is to show the sellers the difference. So that would help me get them to market the property at the proper price to begin with, so we get it sold. Because a lot of times they're up here with pie in the sky when the reality is here. And those aren't really old comps because appraisers go back 4 to 6 months to appraise the property. And that's the last thing I want to have is an appraisal problem when I do get an offer on a property.
Right.
So like I say, I'm just having a hard time with it.
Same boat.
Yeah, I started in appraisals. I cut my teeth in appraisals myself. So I'm using an appraiser's approach before I'm sitting down with the seller. So I do the same thing, but I'm not presenting to them only sold comparables. You know, I'm presenting to them the stats that show them where they sit within the market, and then, okay, now let's look at the active properties, because this is your current competition. Are we going to be able to historically get the price that you want based on these sold comparables and now competing against what's out there? Because these people, these other listings have prime strategies in. Now we need to be smart and price them against it, because this is what the market does. sold comparables, and this is where it is right now, what are we competing against?
Well, I use active, pending, sold, that's it. I don't bother with expired or anything off markets, that's just a waste, okay?
Right.
But at least I could say, here's what your competition is right now.
Right.
And then this is where the reality has been
Right.
with the closed prices. So that way it helps me to get it marketed properly right off the get-go.
Right.
So the sellers can see what's going on, okay? And then they know what the expectations are going
Right, yeah, I'm with you
to be.
there.
And that's it, really.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not saying don't look at the sold comparables. That it's an important factor, obviously. And, you know, in appraisal, that's exactly my thought is that you gotta rely on an appraisal anyway. You can dream whatever you want to price it at $1 million, but if buyer's willing to pay $1 million cash, no problem, but a lot of times the bank's involved. And, you know, you gotta get it certified by an appraiser, so you gotta rely on those statistics. So for sure, I'm with you there. I'm saying don't ignore the sold comparables when you're trying to compel a seller within the script. It's to rely on the actives because it is their current competition, and we want to have those buyers choose your house over the other houses that are out there for sale, because there's other houses out there for sale. Maybe not a ton right now, but yeah, that's certainly a good point.
Yeah, and we sure don't want to use your house as a guinea pig to sell all the other homes.
Exactly. Yeah, and we'll talk about that too, about, pricing above market or below market, and really what you're doing at that time is you're chasing down your own price when you overprice a listing, because you got to adjust as the market adjusts, and then you got to adjust again. You got to, there's a lot of adjusting rather than just pricing it right to begin with. Instead of just trying. There's all sorts of pitfalls with that. So, okay. All right. Are you guys looking at market stats?
Yes.
I know that I see a couple familiar faces from the business splits we did where we did the market stats over in the other building. So, I mean, that's another big factor, those conversations you could have around certain metrics. So, study the market stats. I mean, can anybody tell me right now what the, just the general market, is it a buyer's market, seller's market, or neutral market in Shelby Township?
Depends what your price point is. If the price point's over 500,000, we're definitely in the buyer's market.
Buyer's market,
If
sure.
we're under 3, we're still in the seller's market. We're barely.
Barely.
If
exactly.
we're under 2, we're still seller's market for you.
Right, exactly. So, you're seeing like a trend towards almost a neutral market, even in Shelby Township. Everybody thinking that everything sells. When you put it on the market, it's going to sell really quickly. Rely on your market stats to convey a picture to your sellers. Because again, okay, it's really, you're not tied to any price with your sellers. I think you got to be tied to their outcome. What is their big why? Pick on that. Yeah.
I don't put a lot of faith in Zillow, but for the past 9 months in a row, my house in Shelby Township went down in value every month.
On Zillow.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of faith in it, but I'm looking at trends.
Right.
And people are, it's going up, it's going up. No, it's not going up. It's been probably a $15,000 drop in the past year and a half in my house in Shelby, but just, you have to know this information. You can't walk in the door, in my opinion, and say, look, we're all doing great when we're always not all doing great.
Right. And what's the first question you get from people when you tell them you're in real estate?
What's a market like?
How's the market, right? You got to know these things because people want to know. And so to be up on just we're in Shelby, right? We do a lot of business in Shelby. Just know what Shelby's market is. If you live in Warren, know what that one is. If you live in Clarkston, know that one. It's just be aware of these things, look at them, and then you can have these intelligent conversations with your sellers, which is ultimately what you want to do. You want to be able to present your presentation to them and compel them to price their house right to sell it, right? All right. Okay. How soon do you guys get into lead generation? This quickly? Yeah. You guys been making your calls? I heard you only did it twice so far. 3 times? So we are making calls today because I need you to not listen to me talk for 20 minutes. So, all right. So you guys got scripts. You got physical scripts last week, right? You guys still have those? Anybody need any? A couple of stragglers in for the. Pardon?
You said last week or last
Monday. Yeah, I keep saying last week. It's every Monday. Yeah. How about get physical scripts, expired scripts? I heard you made an appointment.
Oh, yeah, sure.
class?
Oh, you mean like Monday morning?
Yeah.
I ended up making 4 phone calls, left 3 messages. The last person I talked with, I got an appointment to go out Monday at 5
Nice.
to kind of look at the property and things of that nature. And then, yesterday, the lady called me back. I was gonna go preview the property for one of my clients. But she got an offer from Quicken Loans, and she wasn't too sure about that. So she called me last night and said they finally got their proper approval. Actually, this husband and wife been selling homes for many years on their own.
Yeah.
And then
The FISBOs?
late last night, I got a phone call, and I'm going out there Saturday.
Yeah. Anybody else need me? Well, that's the package for today. I don't have any scripts for you. Let's see. Alright, so let's do practice the scripts for 10 minutes if you guys can partner off. Practice with a partner for 10 minutes, and then we're gonna make some calls for I mean, if it's not for sale by owners, you know, just make some calls. That's really the most important thing. Whoever it is you're gonna call, make the call, right? Okay. So, any questions about the fiscal scripts? The ones that I think were handed out were the Jackie Kravitz script. I like the conversational nature of that script, but you know, feel free to use your own script if you have it.
Is it in the book, or was it actually?
It's
handed
not in the
handed out.
book, it was a handout from Monday.
out? I wasn't here.
Do you want to take a picture of mine?
I got a copy of it.
I got an
That
expired
might
one.
be it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let her
Yeah.
snap a photo of it.
I'm
Then we
gonna
got
copy.
Oh, perfect. You should do that.
Office tax, I think they're like.
Yeah.
Staples are gone.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So they're in Kinko's. They're those kind of places. And what they can do is okay, and then just the inside, just a little bit. I'm building this house, open, private, during these October 7.
So they have like educational.
Yeah. No, that will print it out on the inside. And then when you're done, it might cost you $50.
Yeah.
And then you start, and then you go to the front. 10 on each side of the house, 20.
No, it's actually, when it comes to quick. So I don't know if I have that same principle, go over there and or resource and text and see if there's a.
Well, we need postcards, we have the ones and go to marketing. We have a lot of different vendors and products that we work with. You can go into one of those and, well, we used to have,
No, I'm not on that copy machine. I said I'm not on that copy machine.
Oh, no?
Nope.
okay,
To you or to the.
So-
to you,
Oh,
if you want. Or you can have it mailed out.
I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Rick Holman, who's sitting up here, he does a lot of just lists of souls. He has a company that uses constantly.
Yeah, I want to do like a big photograph like this all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna send somebody a message.
They're all colors.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Miss Kate. Yes, for some help.
Don't say that before you say something. You're not stupid.
No, I said this is going to
Okay.
seem stupid. She said, well, walking with the initiative, and it's all of these are. Yes.
Her name is is it Anna or Anna? Is it Anna All? Yes, Anna All, okay. So how do you look up applications with search in your residential experience level? Okay, you might have to add a field in here. What I do is it's her boyfriend. That's Scott. Okay, so you'll look for each of the two agents, click on it, and add it. And then apply, and then you can then search, you can put in. So I always do active, do status active. Yeah, it's okay. Just hit and then save. Then instead of for sale, you have all sale rents. Just do for sale. I forget about that. Yeah, actually. You can do searches. You know, you can customize one yeah. So then find age on the bottom, and then just try to type Rivera.
Yeah, it's just necessary. We'll take care of it. All right, see you.
That was quick, yeah?
Okay, am I going to her name? So go back to her.
Okay, good luck, hopefully it's worth the time.
Okay, take out Scott's name. Yeah, it's A-N-A, I think.
How will do it? Everyone's been
Is Robin's nest
Yeah.
I did ask Megan.
How you feel?
Yeah, it should be where you are looking at it. It will say it's, check out the college, driving sport actually. So usually inside and up of KWL 419. But the V, the U, the KWL are all capitalized.
Oh, what is it? KW Lakeside what?
Yeah, KW Lakeside, Buckle up, KWL.
Yeah, but going through KWL one stop and then it actually has a login screen.
You're doing an open house this weekend too, weren't you?
So like marketing.
I mean, yeah, I would say. Yeah, what's the address?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, so this is not
I was thinking it was the Robinsons. It could be the subdivision. You know, either one of them. It might not be active. Today's Wednesday, so you're gonna this weekend could go active today.
That's just how it's
I punished out the streets right.
Oh, you know what? Probably.
There you go.
So you do a house and then put a regulator the same way.
Yeah, you can do a radius search.
Okay. I'm trying to do my neighborhood.
Or just, you can do just the street and city, and then give you everything on a particular street, and you just pick out the streets you
I'm
want.
looking for that.
There's a radius search. Try neighbors and search, you pick like 10 on top, and then I'll be there.
Okay. Yeah, John. I'm actually working right now, what's going on. You may have gotten the bill, I'll try to call him if I don't hear from him. I'll let him know when I see him on Friday about that. I mean, I don't know, you know, my dad, so. My dad. You got my dad number as well. You can talk to him.
So this is my street, but I don't want.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dell, that's cost you a pretty penny right there. I'll just,
So do I have to put each street name?
I know there's a way to put here, but I just don't know. I've only done streets, that's big, like, just they are,
Okay, yeah, I guess that's better than me. That's better than that.
you can export that to Excel, that's.
Actually,
Those aren't scrub though, right?
Well, I always say, did you do the 2020 update yet? They call and they say, well, I want to do that call list. I'm like, did you do the 2020 update? Wait, 2020 update? Yeah, you didn't do the update. Okay, I'll put you on that call list. And I'll update it for you.
Okay.
When was the last time you did it?
Yeah, okay. Good to
Okay.
know.
Talk about it, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, that's true.
Was it good 2020 update? Yeah, it's probably because it turned into, yeah, you gotta get my phone.
How long? Been on top 5 years. So how long have you been here?
We, yeah, I started with him in St. Clair Shores, just shortly after I started on the team at his office. So, we've been here for, that long, about 5.5 years. No, I don't, I mean, most of the time over the years, he doesn't, because he's there. Yeah, I mean, he just started getting into coaching, in the last couple of years.
Tom hired for the whole team before too.
Right.
He got his hook.
Yeah, we started out before Tom got into doing that coaching. He had a coach. We had, as a team, even we had our own call sessions. Yeah, but yeah, the whole team had that call. So, yeah, I mean, it's been 15 years.
He thinks a lot of you, so that's next to you. You spoke very highly of you.
You better.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, 2 more minutes for calls. You haven't made one yet. I challenge you to make one.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Too much, like this. Yeah. Good. No, I think it's fine. Yeah, so I'll make this quick. Nice and easy. I just call it basically in real estate business. So I don't know if we're going to you want to use
and we'd like to talk to you about what your goal is and reference to list your give you a call 586-907. And you're going to
Hey, Lance.
within the next 2 years. Not to mention expensive.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, hey, absolutely. For sure. Excellent. All right, thank you so much for letting me know. I'm glad it's all good.
It's like a magic trick. Let's pick right now. Would you
I would actually go downtown.
I wouldn't say I'm very good. I'd say I'm decent. I mean, I still have a ton to learn. But, like, how do you feel? Yeah, because I realize I don't have it.
So we still have
5 You can do the same thing for me. I don't want to spell anything wrong.
All right, 2 more minutes. Wrap up your ball.
Next to it is like the street.
Not a lot of response. I've actually heard text.
I'm sure if you don't mind.
How are you doing this?
I get simple. Something super simple.
Right.
I just asked them to want to be on my list of phone.
It's one of my
Great, let me stop by there and take a few pictures and see what works for my list, what works. So I can-
I work very closely with my
Great, I book a lot of buyers in the area, they're not because MLS.
You know, it's gotta be helped.
Nice.
And then,
Yeah, that's
perfect,
something.
one week of time to somebody figuring out property, so I can narrow it down to the right.
And what was your experience?
So that's not an offensive pushy.
Yeah.
Sure, you have that number.
You're not lying to people too. I'm not lying to
No,
First one.
Well,
So you have the sign.
For your buyers, I've got a lot of buyers, and I do, a lot of buyers.
That's what we, I mean, we got, thousands on our website.
I'm working on it. New coach.
So if you're
Not hard.
Yeah, I think, in the business,
I know them now. I like this approach. Really. A lot of steering approaches. This guy's a great one. Like how you walk in the door, here's what's going on. Like the market, my market's dropping. And if you want to list your home, if you want to list a great one, wait a year, well, what do? What happens? Life will loss of value. And we're at the top right now. Top dollar, or do you want to wait 9 more years for it to come back? What I did. Well, it takes to recover after you drop. We're here. So we're here.
Yeah, for showing us that, then you can have us change. I think everything's fun here.
Right. It's an illusion that they remember the
Yeah, I was on pretty sure. I don't know where it is.
I had my first appraisal.
Standing. Really?
Got appraisal come in fine. Straight with that community value. Surprised me. A couple houses. Back out. Just never seen it. the Fannie Mae system.
cold weather and stuff.
They need to run the appraisal. Appraisers. Plus one from 168. And now it's, you know, come under, so just negotiate, say that's what we're doing. Fortunately, I've never seen a appraisal myself, nothing but appraisal, it's even appraisal. It was code 5. Code 5 means extreme, you know. Yeah, I understand it's a nice condo, it's one street in this town, and the ones around there are. The rest are all strip malls. But they want to oh, somewhere where, yeah, but townhouse.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Where it cuts in, right now, it's cutting. Okay. It just, so the credit team is one. You've asked that, total parking. People line up for every room. Actually, so it's nice, well, there's $30,000 basement, you know, for 12 grand done, whatever that. I've never seen it get rejected before.
Doesn't have an option.
No.
You know what you gotta do is you gotta say positive things, and then you will fill it up, okay? Don't say those negative things, because then you'll fill up the negative things, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good. So have you reached out to the person?
I just did, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Social media is pretty big right now, yes.
Yeah.
Just I want to share with everybody in the state family, because I'm doing my schedule is open. On a physical space, I said to the guy, I'd like to meet with you when we need you. I got to the point where I said, well, my schedule's wide open, I can meet whenever. And Valerie and Tony told me, well, it doesn't sound like you're.
It shows you no value.
Your schedule's wide open, you don't have much business.
You should
Give them a time frame.
Give them a time frame. I got a appointment today at 3 or 4 o'clock available today. I could do tomorrow at 4 also. You know, give them a specific time rather than,
Or I
whatever you want
typically,
to be. I'll be
or I typically do, you can also use the words, I typically on appointments on 4 or 5.
Yeah, there you go.
What works better for you?
Okay. Yeah, and I would say, you know, if your schedule's wide open, start doing some time blocking in your schedule. Fill it up with tasks that are going to move the needle for you. So lead generation. So, I mean, you gotta make phone calls, right? So are you doing that on a daily basis?
I got my sister, she said in her house that she could send me some names and addresses of her friends.
Okay. Yeah, so there's one of the webinars I did has this memory jogger, the ultimate memory jogger. It's also in a book, I think, 7 Levels of Communication maybe has it in there. And it's a memory jogger to boost your database. Goes through, it's like who you get your dry cleaning from, who sold you your car, who brushes your teeth at the dentist office, you know what I mean? Like all these people build up your database. These are all people in your sphere that know you and like you already. Like if you have your sister that's maybe these names, great. Build up your sphere as well.
There's another question about that I'm discussing. My sister's got a friend, Sharon, who I've never met. She's never met me. My sister sends me Sharon's information. I'm thinking it's better to send her something in the mail rather than just call her.
Call her.
I should call her?
Call her.
Call her.
She's not gonna say, hey, you're giving my phone number to your brother. I didn't give you permission to do that.
You might, and if she does,
Apologize and say thank you.
yeah,
Got it. Good to hear it.
yeah. Call her, because like a voice-to-voice conversation is a way to put something in the mail, like, I'm gonna throw it out. I mean, it's probably something in the mail. If you want to cement relationships, that's what real estate is. It's not about selling houses and buying houses, it's about relationships. So, sending something in the mail is cementing the relationship that you need to cement, right? So having a voice-to-voice conversation, just calling her up and saying, hey, you know, I got your information from my sister, she's your friend, how long you know my sister, you guys, you know, get a relationship going, and then, yeah, she gave me your information because I'm in real estate. So, always better to do voice-to-voice, in my opinion. Texting, you know, Steve is saying he's getting a lot of responses from texting. You know, I think all generations at this point are texting. You know, we talk about millennials are texting. Everybody's texting nowadays. It's just easy to do. and you've got to move with times. So texting is in video texting. That's what I'm hearing nowadays, is video texting is the way to go. So I know Nick Tracy does a lot of the video texting. We have these canned responses, just like you have a canned email, a response that somebody's going to ask you a question, and then you can send it off to them with a video. Yes.
Are there any scripts for texting? Because I do find some people do not want phone calls, they just want to text. Even friends, they text me.
I'm sure there are some for texting. I would say, I don't have any I can give to you. But
Yeah.
the simplest thing you can do, I need to ask a lot of questions. That's what I do. I get, new leads coming in, and a lot of them, they give you a bad number or a number that they don't answer. You gotta text them. And it's asking questions. Okay, which kind of gets us to, the mindset is what we're going to talk about next. Okay, getting your head in the game when you're talking to a seller. Having conversations with sellers, having conversations with buyers, it all comes down to them and their big why. Okay, what kind of responses do you guys get from asking questions from sellers and buyers? Do you guys get any pushback when trying to get to know the seller's scenario?
I just did an open house last weekend, and I would ask, well, when are you looking to list and purchase? Oh, we're just waiting. Mm-hmm. Well, why are you waiting? Because interest rates are at their all-time low right now. They're expected to go up.
I would say ask questions that, why are you waiting? Maybe a question that is a little combative, like, what are you doing? Why are you waiting? Ask it like, what's going on in your life that's going to make you wait? What's your time frame?
Mm-hmm.
Those sorts of questions.
Or where do you want to go? Go to their big why is not they're moving. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
And why? Why do you want to be there? Okay, Florida. Why? I mean, get into what makes a difference to them. They're already getting automatic pushback of, oh, they're trying to sell me something.
Yeah. Right.
When you get in their circles, hey, where are you going to? Oh, Florida, that's amazing. Whereabouts in Florida? And then talk about why they're going there. And then once you get comfortable with that, then you can show them path how to get there.
Exactly. So it's the questions. You got to get into the mindset of a seller. And I think making your phone calls, that's big too. For me, when I first started making phone calls, the mindset that I was in was real nervous and apprehensive, and there's a lot of my own drunk money stopping me from making those calls. And what I had to do is to tell myself, I need to get out of my own head, I need to get into the person that I'm talking to, I need to get into their head. Right? And I can't get into their head if I'm in my own, right? So if that helps you at all, when you're making your phone calls, just put it aside, acknowledge it. Yeah, I'm nervous, and next. And you just need to just be in their world. So talking to a seller and being able to communicate with them comes along to their big why, and you get there through questions. So questions. So in the packet of information that I've given you, again, this is my system. We're gonna value a property. It's current listing. It's what I'm doing everything else this weekend. It's actually Shannon's listing. So I've got in the packet the mission is just the public record data for the property. Then I've got an agent pre-qualifying questionnaire that I've already filled out and a blank copy for you if you'd like to use this for yourself. I've also got a seller survey filled out and a blank one for you if you want to use that. Seller's cash proceeds worksheet, which is also invaluable. And so using all of these things, using these systems, you're going to allow yourself to get into the mind of a seller. Okay, so the process is you're on the phone, you set an appointment. When you set the appointment, one of the things that you can do is ask, do you have a few minutes to take 10 minutes to answer some of my questions. Then you go over this agent pre-qualifying questionnaire. This is what we use on all of our listings. So this is going to allow you to ask questions, get into the big why of the seller, and also get some information on the house so that you can do your evaluation before you go out to it. Okay? So you got a blank one in there, so you can use it.
Yeah, Tom could have it.
Yeah, probably give you a copy of it. I'm sure a lot of the stuff I'm going to give you, you've already gotten on Monday. Maybe you've already seen it, but this is our system. This is what I know. So The pre-qualifying questionnaire, I think you have to ask these questions before going out to the property. Because for me, you have to earn the business. And you're not gonna earn the business if they don't know you. You haven't proven to them that you are in it for them and not for yourself. So asking those questions allows you to get into their world, and find out, and asking hard questions like, do you plan on interviewing more than one agent for the job to sell your house? You might want to skip that question. I would encourage you not to skip it. Just to ask it, just why not?
But if you ask it, aren't you maybe planting that seed in their head, maybe you weren't thinking about it, but it's like, gosh, maybe we should.
You don't think they're thinking about it anyway?
Not necessarily.
No, I don't think necessarily.
They are.
I don't know,
They are.
not everybody. I think you're planting that seed in their head, like maybe they're saying, yeah, maybe we should be talking to other people.
I think it's good if they're nervous to talk to you, like, they go through that process again. They might say yes to their other one.
I think it shows confidence in you that, I'm good enough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't care if you got competition, bring it on.
Right.
And that's, a lot of times they'll actually, they're confident enough that they must know what they're doing, they don't even bother interviewing anybody else. So there's two sides of the coin.
Right. I think it's a question. It's a question. You're going to get a yes or no answer. Nothing to be afraid of. Such a question, right? So, tell me again where you're moving. Getting into where you're going. And you can go deeper on these questions too. What's taking you there? What's important to you about getting there? That's what you need to get. You need to get into the seller. You got to ask those questions. And I encourage you to go like maybe 3 questions deep on anything you're asking. You're going where you're going. They give you an answer. I'm going to, in this scenario, I made it up. He's going to Denver. He's going to get a new job there. What's taking you there? My new job. Okay, what kind of job is it? Is it something you've been doing long? How's this going to advance? What is this going to do for your family? These sorts of questions. Put it into their mind that you're invested in their business. You're finding out about them. I'm not talking anything about myself so far, right? It's just all about them. So I think that's really what you got to do. When you're talking to a seller, it's about their mindset. They have a goal to accomplish, and they have a dream. And the obstacle is selling their house, right? Maybe even buying another house. So we can handle that. We buy houses and we sell houses. We handle that. Everybody in here has done that, right?
Mm-hmm. So
don't worry about that part of it. Get into their big why. That's the bigger part of working with the seller. Any questions? Any feedback? Lou, you talk to a lot of sellers.
Yes.
What do you think about asking questions? Is it a big part of your presentation to ask questions to a seller?
It's probably the biggest part. And I inform them. The reason why I'm asking all these questions is because the more information I have about what you want to do and what your accomplishments are going to be, I'm going to be able to be better to serve you with your real estate needs. So I'm like a computer. Just keep filling me with all the information.
Exactly.
So I can better serve you.
Right. Yep.
Psychologically, the questions are simply a way that you can get them to come up with the answers instead of you saying them.
Exactly.
If you give someone an answer, then that's your opinion. But if they come up with the answer, it's their opinion, then they're always right. So if you can use questions to lead them to the answers you want, then it's their answers, and of course they're right.
Exactly. Get them into the habit of agreeing with you, saying yes, and asking lots and lots of questions.
I always reaffirm what they tell me to.
Repeat and approve, right?
Yes.
Repeat and approve, absolutely. And another thing out of that video that we watched to prepare for today's class was listening. That was one of the things that the woman was speaking of is you have to listen. A lot of times when we're talking to somebody, we're just waiting for our turn to talk rather than listening to what they have to say. And for me, I get nervous talking to people sometimes. So what I like to do is just slow down. If I slow down, then I'm able to come up with a response. If I don't know what to say, I can just think about it, and that knows that I care, that I'm really trying. I'm not just giving out some canned response. I'm actually listening to what they have to say, and I'm looking for a response for them. Okay, so listening is big. Asking questions. You ask questions, then you listen. Don't give them a response. I hear a lot of times people doing phone calls. It's like, hi, did I catch you at a bad time, or are you busy right now? Or you're giving them away. You're giving them an out. Right? You're giving them an out. Don't do that. Just ask the question and wait. listen for the answer. Doing more and more practicing of your scripts is going to help you with your responses when you move it. So, I will. All right, so getting into the mindset. Any questions on mindset? Anybody having any difficulty making phone calls? Lou, no. Charles, right? Can you make Charles?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What's stopping you?
Well, I think it's just I can't do this, so
Exactly.
I think that's my problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I just need more practice with the scripts, and then I'll probably feel more confident to make more calls.
You definitely need practice with the scripts, and you will feel more confident. Probably. Definitely
Yes.
will. Yes.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah. So, and you know, there's nothing bad about it. Like, if you're not going to make the calls, I mean, you're benefiting every other agent in the room. Because if you are making the calls, there's other agents out there that aren't making those calls. People aren't going to come to them. That was, anybody know who Flo Abke is? Flo Abke said to me when I first started out, like, are you calling anybody? And I said, no, I didn't call anybody today. Well, they're not coming to you. Why would they come to you? Why? Why would they come to you, right? You got to go find out. Okay? And even if it's people that you know, why would they come to you unless you are, present for them? You got to be available to these people and, get into their world. So mindset is huge. Please take that with you. All right, and around pricing too. That's another big thing when you're talking to sellers. The mindset of a seller around the price. They tie a lot of emotion to it. So getting into their mindset and knowing what their motivation is going to allow you to have these hard conversations about price sometimes. All right. So we're going to talk about marketing. So we got this property, and what I want to do is I want to have you guys help me price it. Okay, so if you've got your computers, you want to follow along on Carry On, feel free to take them out. All right, so I did include a printout for public record data on the property that we're doing. It's at 51273 Blue Spruce in Macomb. I use this BSNA. I find it to be really great information. You can get all sorts of public record data from the city website, essentially. So it is 51273 Blue Spruce Drive. Okay, so approach to valuing a property. We talked about comparable properties. We talked about sales and actives, closed properties and actives. And there's many different approaches to valuing property. This is the one that I use. I am approaching it as an appraiser because, as we've said, ultimately it's going to come down to the appraiser most of the time. So I'm looking for properties within 6 months that sold. Within a mile, I'm trying to keep it within not crossing any major roadways. So property, you don't want to cross a 25-mile road if you can help it. And so 6 months back, within a mile, and bracketing, square footage, bracketing year built, those sorts of things, bedrooms, bathrooms. And what I mean by bracketing is you're making an upper and a lower limit to your search. So if the property has 3 bedrooms, we're not going to search for 2-bedroom properties because those ones really don't compare. 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom don't really compare. A 3 and a 4-bedroom, I think they do compare, but there is an adjustment you can make for that difference in bedrooms. Okay. Necessary, yeah. I think in this instance, this property here, I'm going to show you how it is to one. In this case, I'm going to do for everything closed. Okay, so there's our property. I'm just going to draw within 1 mile. And we do cross over 23-mile road. So that's something that we didn't want to do. In this case, I'm going to allow it because I want to see what's up. And I may pull that back in later. So really my approach is I just want to see what generally is out there, and then I'm going to look to refine from there. Okay, so this is just everything that's sold in the last 6 months. 65 listings, right. So within 1 mile of our subject in the last 6 months, there have been 65 properties that are sold. So this property has 3 bedrooms. Bathrooms, just because it's difficult to do the full and the half sometimes, we can always go back and make that adjustment if we need to. It does have a basement. Now we're getting our number down a bit. We have 19. So I want to look at these 19 and see what we're dealing with. Okay, so we have 19 on the low side at 215 and on the high side of at 385. But this is like a 2017 house. Yeah, these are all pretty good in terms of the year built. I would do, the way that an appraiser is going to do their adjustments is that anything over a 10% adjustment, they have to make a comment about. And so they're trying to keep within a 10% adjustment.
Okay, I
10%
guess I'm
is 200. So I went 200 below
when I
and
did the
200
one
above.
rating, way too many.
What was the average?
2,000
It's in your packet, there's
listings
a
closed.
piece of paper that's got
And I put
I never did.
June, 6 months.
I would say you don't have to, I mean, because in this area, you might have a 3.
That's the
so you
assessment.
don't have to.
But a 3-bedroom, a 3-car garage got a lot more value than a 2-car garage.
June.
So you wanna keep it as similar to the property as you can, because I
That's
think
close.
that would make an adjustment.
715.
Right, yeah, because, and now we've got 8 properties, so that's a good amount, that's a really tight amount. If you've got
That's
100
easier.
results, I think you need
Never
to
mind.
narrow your search down.
You got it.
You know what, if you're shooting to get maybe 10 comparables that really show your market. So I think this is a pretty tight search here.
So then there's,
What order would you do? So I think you would do
Yep.
And then.
So I got 70.
Or the type like ranch, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what order kind of do you?
I would do, so time frame, within 6 months, the 1 mile, yep, and any bedrooms is important, because again, like a 2-bedroom property or 2-bedroom condo, think about it, 2-bedroom condo versus a 3-bedroom. They do not compare, correct. So, house is the same thing, okay? So bedrooms, I think, are important. Square footage is important too, because, you know, having a house that's really large, yes, it's compared to a little bungalow. Square footage may also be a factor too, or year built rather. So when I purchased,
Type of house.
yeah, I can.
Ranch is the order than.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you.
Exactly, and it depends on your neighborhood. Like if you're in, Sterling Heights, Sterling Heights has a lot of mix. They've got bi-levels, tri-levels, colonials, and ranches, all in the same neighborhood, right? So you're not going to be able to, in the same neighborhood, you're going to have a lot of different options. Whereas in this neighborhood, it's pretty straightforward what you've got. This is a neighborhood that's got a lot of those grants, lethal ceilings. We can, yeah, that's something you could certainly do. These are like colonials and ranches. I don't think they're allowed.
I got 9.
It always comes up.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at our results now, we've got eight properties that came back. And so these are closed properties, anywhere from 295 up to 340. So that even in of itself, that's a pretty tight range. It's $50,000 range. So looking at this, we didn't do too much to narrow our search, but we did find a tight range. That's why I picked this property, to make it easy on us, right? St. Clair Shores, you're gonna find the same sort of thing. You know, in these markets where you just have everything is the same, you're gonna find a lot of comparables. What you want to do is really you're looking to get about 10 closed sales. Yeah, and then exactly. You get a lot of them, then you narrow it down. You put in another criteria. And if you still got 80, then you put in another criteria and you narrow it down. So you really want to have about 10 sold comparables to compare your property to. Because that, and within this range too, this is a good range to have, from 295 to 340. It's a pretty tight range. You know our value is worth at least 295 and at most 340. Any disagreement, any questions?
Mine looks completely different.
Okay. So the
I
criteria.
had 9.
Yeah, I got 9 too. So.
So I'm gonna go back.
Okay. So let's go back. Residential properties.
Hold on to my criteria. Residential closed.
Closed within 6 months.
Right.
Within 1 mile radius.
Radius was, let me just double check. I did the 1 mile.
1 mile. Only for sale.
1 mile. Search. Okay.
Oh, this one I did a year bill too. Okay, so 1 mile.
That's what I didn't do. Where's
Yeah.
my year
Second
bill?
section down.
Secondary criteria.
So criteria, go back to criteria,
Right.
under secondary.
So let's take it out. This was a search I did yesterday. So it's residential closed within 6 months, 1 mile of property, 3 bedrooms max. It has to have a basement, it has to have a 2-car garage between 1,800, 2,200 square feet.
Right,
And I get, 9, just like you.
okay, so that's what I got, 9.
Right.
And then, so when I hit, see, you show like, it was 309 to 305.
Right, so if we put in our year built.
What's that number 1? Oh, that's what I didn't do.
Year built max at 2010, because the property's built in 1999. So our 2017 house is not going to compare to this one that's built in 99, right? So that's another thing, I don't want to have those properties in there to compare to.
Hold on, I'm trying to year built
I like
to
that, I like.
2010, you said.
Right, max 2010, right? So now we've got 8, and that really tightens it up. So this one, look at all the year builds, 97, 99, 98, 98, 2006, 2099.
So I got 8, yes.
Yeah, so these properties compare, they all
Oh,
have
I
3
see.
bedrooms.
You
They all
have an extra
basements.
column than I do on
So,
mine.
and what we're seeing is that, it's a tight range. This is what you want to see. These properties compare. They're, the property itself is 2,000 square feet. Okay, so now what we need to do is take a look at these 8 properties and look at the pictures to compare them to our property. Okay, so when you're doing your pre-qualifying questionnaire, that was one of the forms we have here. You're asking about improvements. Would you quickly describe your house for me? Rate it between 1 and 10. Give me some updates that you've done to the house. You're asking these questions when you pre-qualify them before you go out to the house. So the updates that they've done, generally, how they feel about the house. They've got a lot of emotion tied to it, so you want to know how they're feeling about the house too. So you get those questions so that when you're doing this, you have an idea of their description of the house, and now you're going to compare it to, the updates essentially. What does the kitchen look like? What does the bathrooms look like? What does the basement look like? Is it dirty? So those are the sorts of things I'm looking at, right? So
Mine's a 15 because I used heavy duty nails.
there you go. Those heavy duty nails in the attic. You can't see them, but they're there, right? And I got that great Ralph Lauren paint in the vegetables.
They come up with some
They
good
do,
stuff.
yeah. Yes, and they will have a lot of emotion tied to all of the things that they've done to personalize their house, and doesn't look great, but whatever.
How did you get, so on your price, you have yours listed in red
Correct.
and then asking price.
Correct. Yeah, it's just
It's
a
the
customized
setting.
field. Yeah, it's a field how I customize it. So,
So when you pull this up, there's one down at the bottom, Black Hawk. The asking price, which one was it?
yeah, $345. It sold for $335. This one was asking $330 and sold for $340.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So your explanation to them, if they're gonna ask, is they rolled the closing costs into it, correct?
Not necessarily.
No?
That's
No.
all concessions.
No concessions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No
And what did they
concessions
roll?
on this one. It was a conventional sale. I think this one probably was priced right and
Got a bidding war.
got a bidding award, exactly, which is a strategy that we're going to talk about. Okay,
Okay.
so if we look at this property, they asked $330, and they got $340. Look at that privacy behind. Look at that. That's a great little view. Nice kitchen, clean, updated, right and modern.
Gotcha.
Finished
Okay.
basement. Look at that. Right, so that's a good house. They priced it to be competitive. And that's the strategy that we're gonna try to approach with our sellers, is
Gotcha.
to price them competitively so that you can create an auction environment, which drives the price up. Any questions on that? Lou? No? Good?
That's the best way to do it.
The best way to do it.
Price them a little bit below the market, we'll end up getting a feeding frenzy on your house.
Exactly. And that's really what you want. You want to drive activity to the property. I mean, because the buyer's agents can see the value. The buyers can see the value, and, you know, they just flock. How many times have you all been in bidding wars recently? A lot, yes.
Sometimes what I'll do is if the seller's at a certain price and I'm feeling it's a little bit more than what I really feel comfortable in listing it at, I will bring up that scenario with them. So you know what, if we get it below the market, we end up getting a bidding war, and I may be able to get you to where you want to be anyways.
Right.
If we do it that way. If we start out here, what ends up happening is your house just sits there. It's a guinea pig to sell all the rest of the homes.
Exactly.
And then what we have to do is I have to constantly ask you for price adjustments. And that's backwards. That way that you guys do, get it below market, get a feeding frenzy.
Exactly, and sell your listings, like that's the goal, like, I don't wanna list houses, I wanna sell houses, right? And the sellers, the same thing, they don't wanna list their house for sale, they wanna sell it. So that's our job, is to get them the best strategy, to get them to where they need to go, which is, in this case, Denver, wherever it is.
So if you did price it competitively, so to speak, you got a full price offer, but there were no immediate counter offers, you just sit back and wait because you want it, or do you say, hey, we gotta stop and take this because we did get a full price offer, even though we were hoping to be a little bit better. If you know you're a little bit below market, expecting to get that competition, if it didn't happen right away, then what's your recourse after sort of explaining that to your customer, your client, that, hey, I feel like we can go up, and then we only get that.
Well, the market's gonna give you your feedback. So, you know, I'm not determining the price for the seller, the market's gonna determine it ultimately. You know, a house is worth what a buyer's willing to pay for it. You know, I can come in and tell you it's worth whatever. But
no, I'm just asking, would you wait then in accepting the offer?
The only way you could really do that ethically would be if your seller gave you a note that I'll be out of town the next 2 days, and I'm not accepting offers until then.
Right.
And then you post that in the agent mark, you're not presenting offers until Tuesday, for example. Other than that, I think it's very enough to hold on to offers and wait.
Well, no, I don't mean not presenting it to your seller. I mean, just to your buyer, just
I think
just
it's
in terms
ultimately,
of.
it's the seller's decision.
Right, okay.
You go to the seller and you say, okay, well, we got this offer, it's for stay on market, you know, it's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wanna wait it out, or do you wanna counter this one? We can't counter if they give you the first offer, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, that's your feedback. If that's the only offer that you get is for stay on market, and you get one offer, and that's your feedback, that's the price.
I have a question for you. Do you, let's say they get an offer right away, and they think, well, if we got an offer this quick, maybe we'll get better. Do you try, if you think it's a good offer, do you try to encourage them, or do you just completely leave it up to them?
I do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would encourage them to say, okay, so really what you want to do is you want to give them the cash proceeds worksheet.
Yeah.
You take your emotion out of it and you present them with the facts. That's what our job is as a real estate agent, is to say, okay, this is the offer that we received. Here's the number that you would walk away with. Does that mean your bottom line? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, but I've found that some people think, oh, we got to offer this quick.
Right, maybe we'll get more. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
yeah.
how do you deal with that? Like,
okay, so go back to the big why. Okay, so this offer nets you this amount of money. This is what you wanted to walk away with. Are you happy with that? You know, we need to get you to Denver by this date. If we don't take this offer right now, there's a potential that we could sit on the market and not get another offer for another couple of weeks. And then if we go back to this buyer, they probably moved on. So here's the scenario. We have an offer. This is what you walk away with. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So now, what if you have a lot of activity on it, and like you were saying, like if you get a full price offer, you can't counter. But what if the terms were better with that one, but maybe someone was higher? If you got higher, even over asking. So you kind of approach them with that, right?
With different terms, what you mean?
Yeah, or like if you want the one that was even coming in and asking, you're getting more than you're even above asking. Right. Obviously not a seller more. How do you can approach that agent with trying to get that above the asking price?
With some concessions, like offer concessions or something like that?
Yeah, a lot higher where
Right, I
getting
think
better offers.
if you're giving concessions, it's gonna wash anyway. So if you, so like in the scenario you're saying is that you get a full price offer,
Right.
but you wanna drive the price up, so you go back to the 8 or 6 and give your buyers.
Yeah, it's like
concessions if they
legitimately
bring
getting
it up.
other offers that are higher, we love asking because of the activity on it.
Yeah, and so in this scenario, you need more than one offer.
Right.
Yes, okay, then yeah,
But you
yeah,
prefer that one because of the terms, you can try to drive that up.
true. Yeah, your job is to get the seller the most amount of money. So if you have 2 offers there, you know, you can have conversations with these agents to say, you know, I got another offer, you can do that. Your job is to get the most money for the seller ultimately, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's also to sell the house.
I feel like sellers always, so like in this instance, they could have been like, oh, we could have priced it at $335 and got $345 instead of $340. I feel like they're always.
Those are just numbers on a paper.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking to sellers and they have these scenarios, oh, I could have gotten this, I could have gotten that, it's like, true, you could have, who knows? This is what we actually have.
Right.
What do you want to do?
Even my grandma's condo, I sold it, I pushed the envelope with that, I did it higher, and then maybe that sold, but I was like, it's all gonna depend on this appraisal, you know, they even wanted it higher, but I said, this is still the highest sold, and it sold first buyer, first day on the market, but unfortunately, oh, we could have probably been higher, so this is the highest one that is sold, you know?
Yeah.
And they still always think that.
They're gonna think whatever they're gonna think, you know, and your job is to sell the property and get them the most for it, and they can, you know, create a reality where they were victorious and beat everybody in the market, and that's just in their head though. You know, these are real facts, here's the numbers that you're gonna walk away with. You know, people say, oh, I lost 20,000, I could have done that. You didn't lose anything, because you sold it, right? You got something for it. If you don't sell it, you're not getting anything, you know? So, yeah, I think in those scenarios, what you're trying to do, if they give you these kind of pushbacks, we could have done this, we could have done that, just say, okay, yeah, that's possible. But this is what we actually have, and we need to get you to where you're going.
Yeah.
Go back to the big why. Get back to that mindset of we need to get you someplace. You have a big why. Let's do it. You got an offer, right? You want to sell your house? You got an offer. What are we talking about here? Because you can also have scenarios where I had a listing in Harrison Township, and it was a husband and a wife. It was on the canal, really nice house. I looked at the value. I thought it was valued at $425. That was my opinion of value. And I presented that to them, but they were disagreeing. One thought 440, one thought 450. So we split the difference, and it was 445. 20,000 up what I wanted to list it at. We did a price adjustment. We adjusted it down to 430. Okay, so from 445 down to 430. We got an offer at 415, and that's what it sold for. And it appraised for 425.
Right where you were at.
Right where I was at. If we would have just listed it, if I'd have done a better job for my sellers of having a conversation with them and saying, no, we don't want to list above the market value on it because we're going to be chasing down the market then. You know, you want to be able to get your sellers the most amount of money and presenting that to them in the mindset of, we need to get you a 2X, this is how we're going to do it. We don't want to mess around. If you've got a seller that isn't serious about selling, you have to know how to price it.
How do you do it? I know I've had people say, well, let's list it a little bit more than
Okay.
what we really want, because then it gives you room to negotiate. So I know a lot of people say that.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Right. You say no.
Yeah.
Right. No. Right? So, I mean, I don't know if this is smarter or gonna work. But really, okay, so let's talk about being able to have that scenario right there. So their market value is here. Okay, this is where we want them to price the value at. They want to price it, I'm sorry guys, over here, can't see. They want to price it, you know, just above market right here, because they're worried about getting offers down here, right? If you get an offer here, you can always say no. And what you're worried about is when you're pricing here, you're worried about getting these offers. And if you get these offers, like, yeah, you know, then we need to have, if you're just getting tons of offers down here, this is not our market, okay? So if we price it here, and we get these offers, you can say no. And then, you know, a buyer is gonna have a conversation and say, okay, do we really want this house or not? Okay, we tried to get it, let's go back, let's get the house. So you always have an option to say no. Any offers that you're getting, if you don't like it, you say no, you can do a counter. And if these are the only offers that you're getting, that's your feedback for the seller to say that, hey, our market is not supporting the value that we have right now, we need to make an adjustment. because the buyers are giving us their feedback. You know, if you have a property on market in 10 days and you don't have any showings, it's overpriced. If you've got it on market for 2 weeks and you've got showings and no offers, it's overpriced. That's the conversation, it's the price, right? So you're gonna get your feedback real quick. That's what you're gonna tell your sellers, right? When you're meeting with them, okay, we're gonna price it here, and the feedback is gonna be, are we getting showings, are we getting offers? If no, we need to have a conversation.
Now, if you price it competitively and they get an offer for full price off asking, they were hoping for pricing it the way they did, they don't have to accept that. Like you said, ethically, they probably should, asking price full asking, but.
What do you think?
No, but you're liable, but they're liable to pay commission now.
Exactly.
If you bring a ready, willing, able buyer, it's gonna pay full price.
Exactly.
You've already fulfilled their obligation.
They can say no, but hey, I did my job, I did exactly what you wanted me to do.
But explain to them as well that initially, we price it the right, you're gonna get offers right off the bat.
Yeah.
Unless you wanna sit there and wait and pay your bill for the next 6 months and not sell anything, you gotta figure what you wanna do.
Exactly, so that's the conversation. A lot of times it's like people are holding out for a couple $1,000s, right? They have their house on the market for hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're holding out for $5,000. So you're willing to gamble $300,000 to make $5,000? No.
I like to use this phrase, okay, what's the cost for your house and maintenance? Okay,
Yeah.
$2 grand a month. If you hire a weak agent that takes 6 months to sell it, you already spent $12,000 in your pocket. Just have it listed. To save 5, you shouldn't spend 12.
Exactly. So it's break it down to the smallest little, what is it? It's like, break it down to the stupid or something. It is simple. You really just want to make it real simple for them. Like, okay, we're gonna gamble $300,000, which this buyer is willing to give you so that you can make another $5,000. Is that gonna get you to Denver? What if this buyer walks and you don't get another one? Just present these scenarios to them. Say, okay, we need to talk through this sort of thing. It's your choice.
I think sellers sometimes have to see that too. So for an example, by my kid's school, there's a house that was listed by Roseanne. And it was listed for quite a while, and I thought it was overpriced. It was at $375. Sure enough, I think it expired, and good old Matt Bellinger picked it up, and he just sold it pending now for $350. Which I'm sure Roseanne had that talk with the sellers. So sometimes they just need that to see for themselves. They probably did that set in their mind. I'm sure she's,
right.
all wrong.
Exactly, and it's about the conversation. I think future pacing a seller when you meet with them the first time, having these pre-qualifying questionnaire future paces them for the conversations you're going to have at the listing appointment. And at the listing appointment, you're going to future pace them for things like price adjustments because you're going to have those conversations. These are scenarios that may come up. That's what I do. I don't say it will come up. I say it may come up. This is our best case scenario. We're also going to talk about the worst case scenario, so that we're prepared. Okay. So the best case scenario. This is what we're looking for. This is our goal here. It doesn't always work out that way, and if that's the case, we're going to have to have a conversation about that because my ultimate goal is to get you to Denver by June 1st, right? So that's going to be my focus is to get you to Denver by whatever the scenario is. Make sense? Okay. All right. So on our value here, so this property here, I'm going to pull up the listing so you can see the pictures of it. Because we want to be able to compare the two properties. Okay. So obviously we won't have these pictures prior to our listing appointment, but you will have talked to the seller on the pre-qualifying questionnaire and gotten an idea of what's going on with the house. So looking through these pictures, the house looks nice on the outside, very clean. I like the hardwood floors. A lot of these houses have those have carpet in this area. So that's nice. It's also dated. That's a 1999 kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Built in 99, it's a 99 kitchen. Same thing with the bathrooms, wallpaper, all that sort of stuff. It's really clean, really tidy, practically unfinished basement. So those are the things that we're going to be looking for in our comparable properties. We got an idea what our subject property looks for, and you're going to do your pre-qualifying questionnaire to figure that out. Now, looking at our results here, this property we looked for, this is the one that asked $330, they got $340 for it. I don't think this property compares. Obviously, that's a better property, right? Okay, so we're going to just start looking through the rest of them. to try to find something that matches what we're looking for.
Do you remember what setting you can do that shows you the price reduction or the price drop?
It's the fields. I have like price and asking price. So the red,
Oh,
is that what you're talking about?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's price and asking price. So price is, the asking price is what they ask for it, the last asking price on it, and then the price is actually what it's sold for. I like having this because it shows you, okay, it's sold for less than what they asked for, less than what they asked for. You know, that one didn't have an adjustment on it, why, I don't know. But you know, it gives you an idea. You can see what they asked for and what it actually sold for. Okay? All right, so looking at Blackhawk now. As 345, they got 335. Another nice one. Okay. Yeah, another
Carpet.
yeah, carpet, but it did have some hardwood. It's got tile in the kitchen. Nice kitchen, yeah.
It seems like it's been a little bit updated.
Right. Yeah,
As
it's got this,
opposed to the other one.
and these sorts of things, I think this has a really good appeal to a buyer. Because buyers are looking at everything online. You know, that's what people are doing. They're looking online. So having this great online presence for your listings is really good. Because buyers are looking at this and they love it. They love it. I mean, how many buyers you walk on through the house with like a little bit, you know? So if you have a seller, give them what the buyers want, not what the seller has in their house. Like you got to talk to these people, have these conversations about the staging, about marketing the property, because the online presence of it is really a big factor in selling the house.
And professional photos.
Professional photos by your
That's
sister.
huge, huge, huge,
Yeah,
huge.
by your sister. Right. So the bathroom here, bathroom is not updated. Okay. So the kitchen looked updated, bathroom's not been updated.
The basement is amazing when it has a wet bar in it.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Nice basement.
A lot of value in this house is in the basement. So even though the bathrooms are not updated,
That-
$100,000 basement.
right?
Yeah.
Who wants to live there? I mean,
Now, what do you think the value add would be? If your comps are like your current listing, and this is the one that you're gonna list, what would your upside to the comps be in that basement?
25. I mean, it's going to be significant because that's a really big.
And so you gotta look at, they're only gonna get a 1 to 4 value increase
Exactly.
for what they put in the basement. So it's good that people ask you all the time, well, what values make a difference in a house? Finished basements are nice for your family, but they're not nice for your sale price.
Correct.
Not like yourself.
Well, if you put $100,000 into the basement, you only get 25 more out of it. You've lost 75,000.
Right, but I didn't know it had much value still for sale.
I think the difference between our subject property's basement and this one on an appraiser, if you're going to use this as a comparable, I would expect a big adjustment on basement finish. But I mean that.
Right, that's an important thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you got something that you use that has all these value adjustments for
No.
extra bathrooms, half baths,
Not
finished
really.
basement?
There is none.
Yeah.
RPRs.
I'm pulling from my
Appraisals.
history. Yeah, I was in
History of
So
appraisals.
I've seen kind of what adjustments are, and it's about price range. So like in East Point, a basement adjustment on finished and unfinished is maybe 5,000 or 10,000. But this price range is going to be much more. It's going to be worth a lot more to a buyer because they're bigger and they're done nicer, and so it's really about your market. And an appraiser does have. They used to have a book that they would look in and say, okay, basement adjustment, finished, unfinished, and this is what you would apply some sort of ratio to it. I don't know what that was. So I'm just using my experience.
You say there's something in RPR?
Yeah.
You go to the property resource on the MLS, you can use that, and you can actually put adjustments on what grade it finishes and what date you did it. And it'll kick out a valuation based on there.
How much you paid for it?
Well, I just did one, it was a 15-year-old basement they did improvements on, and they spent $30,000 a basement, it paid over an $11,000 improvement price.
There's also
You have to know how much they invested in it and how long ago, right?
You asked.
Yeah.
Right.
There's also a magazine called Remodeling Magazine. If you go to their website, they have what's called a cost versus value report that you can get. And for the most part, it's like an 11-page PDF document, and most of it's like ads for contractors or different oil companies or whatever. So in there, you can specify our region, the Metro Detroit region, and you can get a comparison of what people, the average return on investment that you can get for all sorts of repairs. Basement repairs, it's cost versus value report from Remodeling Magazine. So if you go to Google, type in cost, vs value, the first thing that comes up is Remodeling Magazine. And then you go into that website, you have to answer a couple of questions, put in your contact information, and it'll give you access to a PDF file. Just save the file, and you don't have to go back in and register again on the website again.
I have a problem.
Yeah, Luke.
I was saying earlier, we're getting ready to say, if you talk with Doug Engelhardt from Mortgage One, I'm about 99% sure I got my little chart from them. That kind of gives you a ballpark idea on adjustments.
For an appraisal?
For appraisals.
Nice.
So if we got this one property that's got a 1-car garage versus another one, let's say a 2.5-car, they might add value for that. Or 0 car to 2-car, okay? Or from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom, they might add $5,000 for the additional bedroom. I do have that chart in my planner, so most of you guys have my email address. If you want me to copy and email that to you, I can.
Yeah.
It'll kind of give you a ballpark idea on some of the major things.
Yeah.
That's, I have a cheat sheet like that, but
Yeah.
it's not for this area.
Oh,
So
no,
it's gonna
yeah, this is for this area.
be, yeah.
And I recently sold a house, well, that's kind of, I'm going back a couple of years. The gentleman just put in $35,000 into a brand new finished basement, and the appraiser gave 0 value for it.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we were stunned. We even gave the appraiser all the receipts and stuff that he got, showing the amount that he put into it. And the appraiser's response back to that was, it's typical for the area, so I'm not going to add value because it's a newer finished basement versus an older finished basement. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started in appraisals, they were like maybe 15 pages long. By the time I was out, they were 40, 45 pages long, and I'm thinking they're probably longer now. And that's because of the addendum. They got to make all sorts of commentary, reasoning for their adjustments. Any adjustment that they make, any comparable that they use, they have to justify it. And so they use, all sorts of legal jargon to make their case. You're not going to get an appraiser to shift all the times in terms of the value that they get. They do not, it's their professional opinion. They said it. They're not going to second guess themselves. So,
Speaking of appraisals,
yes,
do you normally meet them out there or do you not?
I do not.
Okay.
I have talked to appraisers. Even Steve said that he makes like a packet of information
Yeah.
and gives it to them. You don't have to meet them there. They're going to be in and out of the house in a couple of minutes. Probably 10 minutes or so.
I never had either, and I thought you weren't supposed to, but I actually had one that I was worried about the appraisal. And the other agent's like, you're gonna go out there and give them your comps, aren't you?
Yep.
And I'm like, yep.
You can totally do that. You can do that. You can
And I
meet them. Yeah, you can. Because when they're going to be there. They set up just like a showing.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to meet them, but having a packet of information available for an appraiser you're working for your seller, man. Do that every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
So you just leave it at the house if you're not there then?
Yep. Put it in an envelope, say appraiser on it. They're going to get that. And don't give them 20 comps. Don't give them 20 comps. Give them like 5.
Can you just give them the CMA that you've done for your seller?
If you want to, I print out the listing tickets. That's why, because they're not going to go through a CMA and look at your bills.
Oh, so just do the
Just
listing
give them a
tickets
listing
that you've
ticket
used.
of the properties that you want them to consider. Maybe a note, what Steve does is has the seller write out a list of improvements they've done in the last 15 years.
Gotcha.
So you have that available too. And that's a good thing when you go into to do a showing on a house and you see that list on the kitchen table. I always grab it. So having that just any listings that you get, have that information. And then provide it to the appraiser because you're trying to support your value. So yeah, you don't have to meet them. You can. You don't have to give them information. You can.
So it'd be more effective to do a list of the upgrades, get the access the same as we can for sales.
Yeah, but they're going to, not necessarily, because they're gonna determine what their market is. You know, it could be the school district, you know, it could be, you know, it's in Harper Woods, but it's got multiple schools. You know, all of these sorts of things are gonna determine your market for that specific property. So, yeah, they have information, they have access to this information, but what criteria, what market are they defining this property to be in, and therefore looking for comparables. So you give them some comparables, you're telling them this is the market that I was defining that in, so that they get a copy of the purchase agreement, they know what it's, you know what it's being sold for.
I always include the first page of the PAs in my packet. I always include comps in my packet. I always include a list of everything they've improved in the past 15 years in my packet. Rough guess on price. I want receipts. Always.
Yes.
If I need to do an RPI report or something that shows the improvements in value, I will. And I just talk with the guys or girl and say, hey, you guys have worked way too hard with the little money you got. I did some homework for you. I hope it helps you out. Just being nice.
Exactly.
Well, they get the front copy of the PA, correct?
Not always.
Because I feel like all these appraisals come in like within $100 or something like that.
Not always.
Well, they have to, one of the first, like the second paragraph on a purchase agreement is them giving, you know, this is what the purchase was for. It's for a purchase appraisal, that's what I'm doing it for. Here's the details. It was under contract this date, this is the concessions that they've offered. They have that listed in the first paragraph of the appraisal. So they do get the PA. If they don't, they should have. Yeah. So
I just always
For
include.
example, can I ask you your thoughts of why this actually sold for $10,000 less than asking?
because they priced it too high to begin with. Because the other property, they asked $334 and they got $340. This one was priced at $345. Okay, so that you know, the one that sold for $340, I think is nicer than this one. Would you agree?
And that's one's what, Monaco?
This one is Black Hawk. Right. I think they priced it too high to begin with. I think if they had been more competitive, they might have driven the price up. You know, priced it at, what did it sell for, $335? If they had priced it at $335 to begin with, you know, maybe they would have.
They started at $350.
Yeah, there you go.
I like looking at the history.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they priced it too high. And they only adjusted it, so they adjusted it from $350 to $345 and sold it for $335. Right? So that was a conversation that a listing agent and a seller should have had about, like, what are we listing for? What are you okay with accepting? They were okay with accepting $335. They could have probably gotten more if they priced it, you know, properly to begin with. Okay. So this one, another one that's a little bit better than ours. Let's look at the next one, Pinecone. We get to end a little bit early today too because there's an ALC meeting, so we're only going to 11:30. Just so you all know. Because we got 45 minutes-ish. Okay, so another nice one.
Hardwood floors.
Hardwood floors.
90s cabinets.
Yeah, cabinets are old. They put in a granite countertop.
Yep.
No appliances. Right, clean and tidy, real bland, right? There's no like, it's all real beige.
Home Depot grade base.
Yep. That's decent, you know, unfinished. So there's another big factor. So this one they asked $330, they got $325 on it. Unfinished basement. Okay, so we're getting closer to our subject property, right? Still, this one has a nicer kitchen. So next one here. Is this the one we just did? No. Asking $330, got $322. Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
Boom. Right?
Definitely 90s.
90s. You know, it's really clean and tidy, just like our subject though.
Yeah.
You know, it's got carpets, some hardwood, white walls, I mean, real beige. What's the basement? There we go, unfinished basement. So this is a good comp.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really good comp. And they're asking $330, they got $322. So we're getting a lot closer to what we think our value for this property is going to be, right? Okay, so let's take a look at our next comparable. Asking $325, they got $315. Oh, that's nice. Why the heck did this one sell for $315?
Yeah, 5,000 concessions.
And 5 concessions, huh? Okay.
You start that high on 325.
Yeah. Yeah, unfinished, so, I mean, but it's really nice. It's a little bit smaller than our property. So 1848, so maybe the square footage on it, because it's a little bit smaller, right? Unfinished basements. What did they ask? 325?
Originally, they got 315, so it's a little too far off. They did do one price reduction. Keep going all the way about
There you go. Yeah, so no price reductions.
it. You got to go, what, 320?
Yeah, they were on market less, 3 weeks. Right, went on 10/21, got an offer 11/13, got under contract. So, I mean, that's a nice house. I'd say it's probably on the smaller side, and look at how close it is to the Mile Road. There you go, it's a corner lot. There's your factor on why it's over 315. Corner lot. Right on 24 Mile Road. So, this is giving you an idea of where we're at on our subject, right? So if we go back to the property that we,
Main roads and corners, what do you do? $10,000, $20,000 change adjustments?
yeah, I mean, sometimes it's even bigger than that, because in Warren, it'd probably be a 15 grand adjustment for like properties on 13 Mile Road. You see them all the time for sale on 13 Mile Road. And those properties are worth 15 grand less than any of the other houses in the area, right? So yeah, that one, this is our property now. So they're asking 315, it's been on market for 12 days. So now we see, this one for 315 with this nice kitchen, maybe our subject property might be a tad overpriced, right? So this is what I'm doing. I'm looking for something. I want to find a house that is in worse condition than my subject property, and I want to find a house that's in better condition than my subject property, because that's your bracket. Your value lies right in between there. If you can find the lower level and the higher level in your price, your subject is somewhere in there. And it's about finding within the market where you think it's going to be priced and how to get your seller to their next goal.
Now, I agree with you. I just see that you're using what I do, sold comps. I don't use any active comps with analysis. But you talk on the list of appointment, I use these active.
Exactly. So this is where I've gotten my values. Now I have in my head what I want the values to be. So now my secondary search is I'm going to look at the actives because I want to see what we're competing against. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 searches. My first search is going to give me what I think the value to be. And then the second search, I want to see what we're competing against so that how we're going to market your property now. So we know what statistical data is showing for houses in this area. We have that. But it's a range, right? We have this range from like 295 up to 340. So we need to find out where our property is. So let's look at what we're competing against.
So you only go prepared to share this information if they ask. You don't really tell them how you
Not really. No.
You don't include it in their packet or show them the 2 houses.
No.
You get set on your price, so you're confident, and then you go with
The actives.
You don't show them how you got to that?
I can, if they ask for it, yeah. I mean, I've got it saved in here. It's something that I prepare beforehand. So yeah, it's a conversation I'm prepared to have if I need to. My goal is to use the actives to show them, how we're going to get the property sold. Oh no. And
Okay,
Nick's doing a Friday session. So
Friday session,
yay.
taking it through the week.
So when you're at the seller's house, going over all the stuff.
Selling. You have found it, you have priced it, now you are going to sell it.
I like to
Go ahead. Yes.
So you're at the house and you're going over the CMA with them. Are you showing them the feature sheets on paper, or do you show them what you're showing us here?
I have the ability to cast, to get a hotspot on my phone. So I usually am using my computer to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's easy. I
They
think,
see it a whole lot better.
and you can start from scratch with them. So as opposed to coming with some like pre-printed papers and you're like, oh, there might be some other comparables that would show a different value. All you have is paper in front of you. You don't know. If I sit down with them with my computer and I start my search from scratch, they can see exactly. I'm not hiding anything from them.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
So yeah, I mean, having like hotspot on your phone will allow you to get a Wi-Fi signal on your computer if you need to do something like that.
Make sure you're in range. I did one an outer I made it that I was out of service, and I did, and I'm like, oh crap, I got one.
Right. So we have a backup plan too, so yeah. So have, if you're gonna rely on technology and technology doesn't always work, have a backup plan. Maybe do have the printed documents so that you can present them to them. Yes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
In terms of what the price value, percent of your client. So my first question is, you mentioned that, we read through our terms, that we would do it on closed properties, correct? However, the client wants to see, for themselves, visually, then we would show it active. So maybe I'm not understanding.
Our presentation, the presentation that I give on my listing presentations is to present them to the active listings and not to give them the sold comparables at the listing appointment. It's to use the active listings to determine price.
Aren't you using the closed? So I'm kind of seeing if that's
Sure.
kind of contradictory.
I'm using the close to know what properties are selling for. I want to know statistically, historically, what properties are selling for. I'm going into a neighborhood thinking, okay, we can get $250 for the south of the problem, but historically they're selling for $325. I haven't done my work to see what properties are selling for. So yeah, do both. I'm not saying don't look at sold comparables. I'm not saying don't look at actors. Look at both of them. Know the information. The strategy I use to present to a seller in a listing appointment is to give them the active comparables so they can see what they're competing against right now. Okay? I know what properties are selling for because I looked at the closed comparables. I got that data in my head. But when I'm sitting down with them, we're working in today's market. We have 200 homes that we're competing against. We want to be the one that sells rather than sitting on the market losing money.
Okay, I mean, what if your comparables with closed is different from the ones that active?
Well, I can go back to that. So if we're seeing active properties that are listed a lot higher, right now this property is listed at 315. Okay, so if we're seeing everything that's listed at 300, 285, our property is overpriced in the market then. But if we're seeing other properties listed at 325, 330, then we know we're price competitive because we're going to outcompete those homes. If you've got a property, if you're going to Macomb and you've got a property that's a project, like this property is a project, it's dated, built in 99, everything's 99, right? You used to have a kitchen, a bathroom, probably your furnace, maybe your roof, those sorts of things. Rather than going into a house for 350 that's totally dialed in, you can do it on your own. So it's really about, what buyers are you appealing to? Where are the buyers in the market? Yeah.
My bad, go ahead.
Yes.
So I guess like we're taking a step back and looking at this from 10,000 feet, right? If you're playing and looking down on all this, 6 months is the past, and that is a past market. It's an old market. Active houses is the market right now. So it's like old data is old time. Like from now to 6 months ago, that's an eternity when thinking of the real estate market, So it's like that's the ultimate big conversation. It's like 6 months ago it's a different market than we're in right now. We have to price the house to where the market is going to, not where the market has been. That's it.
Exactly. Well, if you're comparing with ridiculously high price homes, how would you take that into consideration when you're looking at what's that? Let's say you got homes in the area.
Well, that's exactly right, because high prices means there's more active, which means it's a softer market, which means you have to tighten the belt on your pricing. You know what I'm saying? So like because high prices will say anything over 500. It's like, hey, homeowner, look at all the competition you have. We can't just put any old thing up for sale and expect it to sell. This isn't 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's even better.
Right. We're seeing a shift in this market right now. We're seeing prices leveling up. We're seeing houses staying on the market longer, right? So looking in 48042, which is where this property is, this is market stats. So we talked about this in the business blitz if you came through. If not, anybody familiar with market stats? Who's using it? Using it? Good. Good. If you're not, I encourage you to use market stats. This allows you to have these conversations with the seller, tell them what is going on in the market, and we're going to interpret these and have a couple conversations about this.
I have a question for you. I know that 4 down is a seller's market. 4 to 6 is a balance. Above 6 is a buyer's market. Do you get that from the sales price or the month supply?
Month supply.
Month supply,
Right.
okay.
You can have a little bit of difference, the way that I look at it is 0 to 3 months is a seller's market. 3 to 5 months neutral market, 5 and above buyer's market. Okay, so you'll hear different, I've heard exactly that, 0 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 and above. I'm 0 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 and above. Okay, so that's just, I mean, kind of the same. They're almost the same. One's it's like a neutral market. All right, so looking at that, so this is market stats. I pulled up 48042, all price ranges, residential properties only. I did my square footage of 1,800 to 2,200, which is the same range I was looking for when looking at comparable properties. Then 3 bedrooms and no new constructions. Okay, so if we look at, let's look at monthly supply. Okay, so we're seeing see a trend. So it was up above 3 in 2016, and then it dropped down through 2019, and now it's up at 2.3. So it's still a seller's market. Still seeing a seller's market. It was a much stronger seller's market, maybe April 2018. Okay, you're seeing, so like you can show this to a seller and say, okay, where are we trending? Right now we're flat over the last couple of months, but we've been trending up statistically over the last couple of years. So this is a movement from a strong seller's market moving towards a more neutral market. Still in a seller's market, but to have these conversations with the seller when you're sitting down with them and they think that it's going to sell real quick, we're trending towards a neutral market right now. Okay. Also, days on market. I'm an average kind of person, median and average. I don't know how you guys feel about the difference between median and average. I go with average. Let's just talk averages. So average days on market is 30 days. In December, that was December 2019, average days on market in Macomb under this criteria was 30 days. So another conversation you can have with the seller when they think we're going to sell real quick. Okay, on average, we're selling in 30 days. And median is what? 21. So the averages are pulling that number up a lot higher. There's a lot more properties that sold over 30 days to get the average target. Okay, so monthly supply is going to give you what kind of market you're in. Seller's market, neutral market, buyer's market. Days on market tells you how fast properties are selling, and that's, again, a conversation you can have with the seller. This is, what sort of conversations would you have around days on market with the seller? Other than to say, on average, they're selling for 30 days. So if your property's been on market now 4 weeks.
If you're trending higher than the rest, then you probably
Overpriced. Right? So knowing these numbers and constantly providing feedback. I think I was watching the cast yesterday, and Tom was saying, we call our sellers every day. Overkill, right? But they know that we're there for them. We're going to answer those questions. We're not hiding from these sorts of conversations. We're having these sorts of hard conversations, which is, it's hard to do. It's hard to have a conversation with a seller when they're expecting something.
It's an easier transition for reduction too.
Yeah.
I talk to them all the time,
All the
once
time.
every 3 weeks.
Exactly. Nicholas.
So, yes, I might write this down. This is right out of Diana Kokoska's teaching and theories that when you are representing a seller and you are communicating and the house is not selling, they're blaming the market. If you are communicating and the house is not selling, they're blaming the market. If the house is not selling and you are not communicating, they're blaming you.
Correct.
That's it.
Exactly. So constantly providing feedback to your sellers, constantly looking at the market to see how it's adjusting, because these numbers are going to change tomorrow. It's really knowing what these numbers are and presenting it to a seller in a way that allows you to get what you need done, to get the property sold, right? To get them to where they need to go.
These market stats that you're showing here, are they directly tied into your search that we're running?
Yeah. I use the same zip code, 48042, which is where the property's at. I bracketed my square footage from the same I did, 1,800 to 2,200. 3 bedrooms, and then nothing that was new construction. It has to be previously owned. So I did narrow it down. I didn't get real specific on like, you can get on other things like the waterfront acreage or price ranges too. You can pick your own price range. But for me, I just want some general information about the market for this property. Okay, so what we're seeing, we're going to have this conversation with the seller, tell them they're in a seller's market. It's trending towards neutral. Average days on market is about 30 days on market. So if we went 31 days, if we went beyond 30 days, what's that going to do for you? You know, these are questions to ask. More questions to ask. Don't ask yes or no questions. Ask questions that are going to lead to deep conversation, deep answers. You know, if this property doesn't sell in 30 days, what's that going to do for you? Have that conversation in the first meeting with them so that they know that, you know, you are prepared for all scenarios, right?
Okay, what about your build? I'm dealing with a house right now built in 1937. They're thinking about selling pretty quick. When you're comparing, how many years above and below the 1937 should I try to get comparables? I mean, what should be my range for 37?
I'm just going to look at, I mean, in a neighborhood that has 1937 homes, you're probably not comparing to new construction. Where's the property?
Grosse Pointe Farms.
Grosse Pointe Farms. Okay, so there's probably a lot of homes that compare with the 1937 homes in Grosse Pointe Farms. So I wouldn't do any yearbook on that. I just, whatever it is. Because, I mean, a 1970s house and a 1937 house, they're both really, right? They both need updating probably. Maybe a roof and furnace. Those are one of the factors that I'm looking for. If you're in a market like this where you're comparing against new construction homes, then yeah, your build is a factor. In Grosse Pointe Farms, probably not any new constructions that you're comparing with, so I would say they're not factor.
When you were on that monthly supply and was saying like 1.2 or 2.1, does that only mean 2 houses meet that criteria?
No, monthly supply. No, monthly supply, what that means, it tells you how many months of supply there are. So what this means is that no new homes came on the market, how long would it take for the current inventory to sell? It's going to take 2.3 months for that to happen. 3 months or less is going to give you, that's your seller's market. So if homes are selling in a monthly supply is depleting itself within 3 months, that's a seller's market. 3 to 5 months of supply is going to be your neutral market. 5 and above is your buyer's market.
Did you show where to find that, or you just do the math yourself?
That's just off of monthly supply. So down there on the bottom left, the monthly supply.
Okay, that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So that's one of the first things you want to do if you're going to meet with a seller. You want to know what kind of market they're in. Are they in a seller's market, neutral market, buyer's market? So check out market stats. Check out monthly supply. That's going to tell you a lot. And these stats will, I mean, if we went to all size homes and all new construction, just in the 48042 zip code, our numbers are going to change quite a bit. So monthly supply is 2.9 now, and 2.3. Just on those little, you know, like 2 criteria I changed.
You got all waterfront types there too. Probably non-waterfront.
Yeah, probably not in Macomb. Yeah, see, Macomb doesn't make a difference too much. You did all bedrooms. So look at that, 3.4 with all bedrooms now instead of 3 bedrooms. So, you know, these stats, it really depends what kind of conversation you have to have with your seller. And you can really tailor the stats to really drive the conversation in the direction you want it to go.
So you say
You know, there's differing opinions, so I'm not going to say you're wrong. Okay.
And I guess, like, if I can, just quick thing on this, is that the script on this is that I would prep them for this conversation, meaning, like, you're setting aside your neighborhood, their neighborhood. You're setting aside, like, specs and really uber specific things about the house. This is all analytical data in a zip code, right? So I might have that conversation. I was like, you know, hey, we're going to set aside ranches or colonials or split levels. This is just analytical is the best way to say it. Data in your zip code, we're going to take a look at that. Again, a higher level of everything, not uber specific.
Right, so exactly. So you want to sit down and know the specifics of their house, because that's what Zillow doesn't do. Zillow gives them a snapshot, this bird's eye view, as Nick says, right? You, as a professional, need to give them the specific view on their house, okay? And how do they sit within this bird's eye view of this market? So specifically, this is your house, and you're in this market, okay? So that's where the closed and the active spread, yes.
So how do you come back, because I agree with these figures here, but, you know, I get all these people that tell me they watch the news and stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, the spring markets now, there's like no houses for sale, you know, there's all this like news stuff just getting thrown at me, right? And I'm just not sure, you know, we show them this because I use market stats too, but then I got people saying, well, I do because it seems like there's no homes for sale, and I'm like, this, so I don't know, I mean, since we're moving into the spring, I mean, are we predicting it's still gonna kind of go into more of a neutral market, or are we thinking it's gonna go down on month supply? I just don't know how to handle that conversation, because I'm getting all this conflicting info, so I just don't.
Right, yeah, when I'm asked that conversation, it's like, you know, I can't tell the future. You know,
Okay.
I can tell you what I think is gonna happen, but that's not necessarily what's gonna happen.
Right.
You know, so I think the conversation is, what would you say?
I said, I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
I wish I did, but would I be playing lottery, not doing real estate?
Right.
That's what I said, I laughed, because humor's good.
Yeah.
I said, the bottom line is, here's what's happened,
Exactly.
and here's what I think is gonna happen, that's my opinion.
Right.
And then you go from there. People understand that you don't have every answer in the world.
Right, right.
Yeah, and if you say it like that, you say like, this may happen, this could happen, don't give them definite.
Here's my trends.
Yeah.
Here's what I see going on.
Like, this is the data, like, what's happening nationally is not necessarily what's happening in Metro Detroit too.
Gotcha.
So those conversations that they're hearing on the news, those are national conversations, and it does not represent what's happening in the Motor City. Because we are completely dependent upon what's going on in the auto industry. You know, Shelby Township is dependent upon what's going on in the auto industry. So if the auto industry is up or down, or if there's turmoil or things going on, there's a lot of uncertainty in the housing market as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to know what's going on in our housing market, pay attention to what's going on in the auto industry. You know, lots of conversations with people that work for, you know, work on the line or something. How many conversations do you guys have with those people all the time, right? Yeah, so that's what's driving. You want to have a conversation about market or housing in Metro Detroit, focus on that.
That's a big difference in different states. If you've been watching like that $1 million flip this house deal, you know, in New York, they've been in a negative market for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For the past year and a half, they've been declining heavily.
So if you have these national stats and one market is up and New York is down, you know, you have to average it all. So it gives you an idea of what's going on in America, but not Metro Detroit.
That's all that matters to them, hopefully.
Nicholas.
Yeah, so Chris, on that, I get it, I 100% agree. And like, so you gotta be careful how you say this. I can get away with it, and I feel like you can too. It's like, you know, hey, Mr. Seller, let's say you and I both don't know what we're talking about, and we price your house too low. We are still in a market where the market is gonna correct itself, and it's gonna drive up the price. So there's that, and again, that's that auction environment that I'm sure you've heard in other sessions. You know, so it's like, depending on your client, it could be like, hey, this is what I think it is, and let's say that, you know, let's say we're wrong. Well, the market, the buying market, the demand is ultimately going to drive your price up, so you're not going to leave any money on the table. You know, and that is 100% true, right? Because like we're still in that market where the demand is going to correct the price,
Exactly.
whether that price is up or down.
Exactly, exactly. So if you price it low, like Nick says, if you price it low, the buyers, agents know the value in those houses, and they're clamoring to try to get their buyer to get that house, right?
Like you last year with 54 offers on one house.
Exactly, he got it.
54 offers on one.
I was representing the buyer. I would never allow 54 on the seller.
Yeah.
But yeah, 54, yeah. And, yeah.
What was that house at?
The Sterling Heights, 222-ish. But, and you know, another thing is that like, just because there's not a lot of competition and just because it's a seller's market, it doesn't mean you can just list a house at whatever price you want. Like the value is not going to be there if it's like terribly inflated. You know what I mean? So it's like square footage is still going to be square footage. Areas, whatever, it's still going to be what it is, regardless of the demand. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going to have to put a script into that when you're talking to people. But it's like just because the demand is there doesn't necessarily mean the value's there.
Exactly.
You like hear what I'm saying? So.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and it's again, the market is going to determine the value. It's not so much I'm going to determine it. The market is going to determine it. You know, because you can ask $1 million for a house, and it's really about what a buyer's willing to pay, and then does it close? You know, the appraiser's going to set it. Ooh.
Another thing that you can try and use it sometimes, because I use this, it's called fear of loss. Mr. Seller, this is what the market is doing right now. I can't predict what's gonna happen in the future. The trend has been up and down, okay? My question to you is, because fear of loss is a greater motivator than the opportunity to gain. So I'll tell them, if you want to price it high, you might take the risk of losing the property. And if the market starts going back down, you're going to lose. What do you want to do? Something on that line.
See how he presented it, he gave some facts and some information, provided them with some data, and then asked a question. And that's really the approach that you're gonna need to have, those questions. So provide them with some data, give them a little bit of, of value, and then ask a question, say, how would that affect you? What do you think about that? Those sorts of things, to allow them to be in the conversation.
Do you want to risk losing going to Denver because we want to price it higher or whatever? Because we're going to speculate on what the market might do?
Exactly. It's a
it goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah, if you're going to walk into a casino and you're going to go to the roulette table and you're going to put, again, the scenario, 300,000 on black with a chance to win 5,000, I would say that's not worth it. You don't want to gamble that 5,000. You don't want to gamble that 300,000 to make an extra 1,000. So it's just really just boil it down to the simple form and have those hard conversations. Okay. So what I want to do now, we're getting close. We're about 20 minutes out, so we need to look at the actives. Okay. So the actives, I'm not being as specific when I'm looking for active properties because I want to convey to a seller there's a lot of competition out there. You're competing against tons of homes.
So the same search, you only had 2 homes on there, exactly, but it's broadened out to get a lot.
Exactly. I took the same search that I used to find my comparables, my 8 comparables, and I just changed it from closed to active, and I got 2.
Right.
So there's 2 properties that compare to this one within that criteria. Now I took out some criteria. We're still going to look for our residential actives. I took out my zip code. I don't want to look just in 1 mile of that property because this property is in Macomb. I should probably put Shelby in there too, because somebody's looking at Macomb, they're probably also looking in Shelby, right? So let's do that. Shelby.
Could you just do it by school district?
You could. Yeah, again, that's still, pardon?
That would be a lot.
Right, so which school district do you think I should put it in?
Well, that would probably be
right. But then, in parts of Macomb, like you've got areas of Macomb that are different school districts. Yeah, Dakota, or even there's like Romeo. Yeah.
Would you go on your square footage because it's one of those things that if they're in a sort of a price range, then at that time they may go for more or less depending on money. So would you kind of remove that from the criteria and look for actives?
Exactly. Yeah. So I took it out. I have it really 3 bedrooms, and I probably don't even need the 3 bedrooms because if somebody's looking at a 3 bedroom, they'd certainly consider a 4 bedroom, wouldn't they? So I might just do a minimum. Like I don't want to look at anything that's a 2 bedroom, right? So we're just gonna knock those ones out.
So you took out the map search.
Yep.
Correct.
And I put in. I had just all of Macomb. I can just do Macomb Township, probably Shelby. So in Shelby, in Macomb, active properties. No price range. We know our price range. We can probably, looking at active properties, so if somebody's looking at a house that's 315, they're probably looking at houses for 300,000, maybe up to 350,000, right? Really, you have a $50,000 search. If somebody is qualified for 325, they're looking at 300 up to 350. Okay, so that's our market really for this house. If we're thinking the value is around 315, which is where it's at, so we might do our search from like 275 up to 350. Because that's a buyer in this market looking at this house who's going to be looking in that price range. Okay, so let's do from 275 up to 350. Okay?
I got 12.
You have 12?
Yeah.
I've got residential properties.
Yeah.
Active. Minimum 275,000.
Yeah.
In Macomb. In Shelby.
Did you take off the maps? Oh, that's what I. Okay, gotcha.
Minimum 3 bedrooms, has to have a basement.
Basement.
Yep.
Yep.
That's it.
2-car garage, 18 to 22.
I don't have.
I have 8.
Right. You need to take out.
The year built, probably too, take that out.
The year built.
Yeah, you might have your bill down on the bottom still. I took
That's
that-
what
took
I,
that out.
okay, you took that out.
Alright,
Okay,
so I've
gotcha.
got 56 properties.
Count. 10. 6 months. Residential active, for sale, 275, 350.
You have McCormick, Shelby, under
5008
your area.
and 5007. Basement, yes.
I'll take a look at it. But I'm getting 56, and that's a good thing to show a seller, okay? That they're competing against more than 50 other homes. You know, we had a few that we found comparable to it on our closed counts, putting us at our value at around 315 is where it's at right now. So now you want to find within here the ones that are very comparable to the property, the ones that are even a little bit better than the property. So you can present those to a seller and say, this is your competition. How are you competing against the other homes? We are entering a competition as soon as we list your home. It's a beauty contest, right? So what we need to do is price your home so that it's going to outcompete these 56 homes on the market that any other buyer is going to be looking at, right? And we're seeing like, okay, let's look at this one.
Do you compare like colonial? Because I see there's 1.5, 2 stories. Are you going to pull
Yeah,
those
let's
out
do that.
then?
So we're going to go back to our structure. We'll make it a 1-story.
Okay.
Good point. So we got 19. So even that's still a lot of properties. I mean, any buyer in this market is going to look at all 19 of those homes before they decide to buy one, right?
Right.
So you're competing against all of these homes. And we're seeing this one's got 84 days on market, 96 days on market. This is a new one on the market, pretty new, 18, 140 days on market, right?
And they haven't even done a price drop.
Right, exactly. So
what's going on?
Having this list here, these are your active comparables.
No, I have a question and then I'm gonna say something.
No. Okay, so looking at the active properties is an important factor because this is what they're going up against. And you can prove like, okay, this one's been sitting on market for 140 days. So let's look at this one for 140 days and see how it compares to the property. This one was built in 98. It's got 22, a little bit bigger than our square. It's about 200 square feet bigger. Same bedrooms, bathrooms. It's got a basement. Pretty nice house. Basic. All right, how would this compare to our subject?
Similar.
Similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got a nicer countertop that was for Micah and our subject. That's pretty comparable. Yeah. So now, we've got this property, unfinished basement. This is a great comparable. They're asking $325 and it's on market for 140 days. Would that be important to show to a seller to say,
yep,
right? So this is exactly why having an active with you at a listing appointment is important, because this one is asking $10,000 more than what we're asking. So if you were a buyer and you had this property to choose from and our subject property, which one would you choose? Subject, because it's 10,000 less. It's pretty much, I mean, you get some more square footage on this one. So we've got 200 more square feet. If that's not a factor for you, you're going to go with the one that's cheaper, that's priced a little bit better, right? So that's the conversation you're trying to have. So you have your sold comparables, that's giving you your absolute opinion on the value, and then you're using your actives to say, okay, now this is what we're going up against. We need to beat these ones. How do we beat them? Right?
So you'll beat them, but you're not necessarily going to drive the price up to that, obviously, because you aren't paying that.
Correct. So I think that tells you that, if the seller wants to price it at $325, well, okay, you can price it at $325, but this one's at $325 and it's sitting for 140 days. So we need to be more aggressive. Is this going to get you? If you price it at $325, we're going to get you number by June.
So would you price it at to have it drive up?
Maybe 300.
So pretty low, yeah.
Yeah. If you're really, I mean, and if it's really about their bottom line. Okay, so that's why you have that proceeds worksheet here. You know what they owe on the house because you asked it in the pre-qualifying questionnaire. So you can work up this proceeds worksheet and give them an idea, if we sell at 300, this is what you're gonna walk away with. Does this number work for you? You know? Nick,
What price range is this?
this is 275 to 350.
275 to 350, and did you put the architecture style on here?
Yeah.
Alright, so wiping all that out. So if you were to look in Macomb Township, I think it's even between like 325 and 425. There's 200 houses for sale in Macomb Township, including new constructions.
Right.
Pivoting this a little bit to your lead generation, if you're calling for sale by owners in Macomb Township in those price range, that mindset is that they're competing with a couple of hundred houses. All the more reason why they need you. You know, you're either gonna call for it physical or not. But I'm just saying is that like this is just active competition in the multi-list. You know, so it's like when you're prospecting, have that conversation with them.
Right. Different price, it's a different price range, is a different market altogether. The new construction market in Macomb is a buyer's market. There's like 8 months supply right now. 8 or 9 months supply of new construction homes.
And at the same time, I'm sorry, not to bombard. If you're a homeowner and you're listing at 420, 450, your house better be damn good because you're competing with a new build.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm working with a buyer right now. She said, "Why am I going to buy used when I can just go buy a new house?"
Exactly.
Yeah, of course you might not have the amenities, maybe not as much landscaping, maybe not as much lot size, but still, it's a new house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
You know, there's that.
Exactly. So having these conversations, what are you competing against? Being able to communicate that to your seller using market stats, using these different metrics, the monthly supply that we talked about, average days on market, even the percent of list price is another strong thing. I kind of use this more when I'm talking to sellers or to buyers than to sellers, but percent of list price. So what is a seller getting? When they're asking a number, how much of that percentage are they getting in their final sale, right? And so right now it's at 98.5%, just in 4042. So if they're asking, 100,000, they're getting 98,500, or whatever it is, 95. So that's another conversation. Those really the 3 metrics that I use in market stats the most is absorption rate, days on market, percent of list price. And those allow you to have many different types of conversations with the seller and buyer. And then again, you're looking for the close comparables so that you know what the market is in this neighborhood. You're looking for your actives so that you can present the competition to your seller. Just say to them, okay, I know you're not a buyer in this market, but let's just pretend you are. Okay, this isn't your house, you're a buyer in this market. You're looking at all these homes for sale, which one are you going to choose and why? And if they say, well, it's because this one is priced the lowest and it offers the best features, that's what they're looking for. So how does their house compare in that scenario? Put them in the shoes of a buyer. Talk to them as if they're a buyer because that's really what you need to do. You need to get to a buyer's mindset because they're the ones that are going to buy the house. Okay, questions?
Well, that house that's on the market for 140 days, what do you think that agent is doing wrong?
It's probably what he's not doing rather than doing.
Price reduction.
Probably not. You gotta understand that a lot of expired listings exist because agents, they get a real emo about having confrontational conversations, so they just shut down and they're ghosted. So maybe, and I don't know because I've been there, is that maybe this agent's having a hard time communicating, saying I tell them what they don't want to hear that their house is valued too high. Or it could be a motivation thing. 100 and some odd days, I'm questioning that seller's motivation.
Exactly. So these are conversations that you find out by asking those questions to the seller ahead of time. Getting into their big why, and then if they're going down a path you don't want them to go back to their big why. Because that's going to get them on track. That's what you need to know. You need to know why are they moving? What's important to them? Okay? Because if they want to overprice the house, are we going to get you where you need to go? I mean, how badly do you want to get to Denver? If you don't want to go to Denver, then fine. I mean, that's another conversation. So asking those questions, getting into the mind of a seller, having your own mind right so that you can be in their world rather than your own. And then, using the stats that you can find. Know the markets. Know the markets.
Could you repeat those 3 items you said are the most important?
For the market stats?
Okay, you said something like that.
The 3 metrics
There
I
are
use
3 keys for
market
determining
stats.
the price.
Yeah, market stats. What I use is average days on market.
Okay.
Average percent of list price.
Average percent of list.
And monthly supply. Yeah, and the monthly supply is gonna give you an idea of, if it's a buyer's market, seller's market, neutral market. How they're trending, trending towards a buyer's market, trending out of a seller's market, all of those sorts of things are gonna inform the decision of the seller,
I'm surprised they're getting that much of a list price now, longer in the market, sellers overpriced.
This isn't perfect, because it's only going with the last, asking price, not the original asking price.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little bit skewed.
Oh, it is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't give you, but it's ultimately, it is, this is more, I've used this more in conversations with buyers, in a buyer presentation, because then you're gonna say to them, we're not gonna be able to go in and offer 20, 30,000 less than what they're asking for, because that's not what the market is telling us. We can't go in, we're not 2008, we're not 2009 anymore.
Okay, so yeah, for buyers, it would be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I use multi-supply. Percent of list price, average demand. Any other questions? I've got more guests than I'd like to have.
Good job, Jason. Good job.